Time to get at it. Well, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. As promised, I got my forks back finally from the shop. And while I'm there, really awesome shop. They got them done here, as you see, and cleaned them up and everything. They look really great, man. Big shout out to Steve Cycles, Custom Cycles out in Lockport, New York. Really awesome guys. Got me thinking about it too, and I kind of wanted to see how you guys feel about it. About shops, picking a shop. What do you look for in a shop? What are the important qualities to you in a shop? Do you even know how to recognize what's you should be seeing in a shop? So you may be going to a shop, but is it the right shop? So we're going to talk about it. So when we left off last, I was ripping this baby apart. And again, want to remind you guys, these things are not hard things to do, man. I'll be honest, this is the first time I've taken off my forks all the way. I've loosened them up, I've done some things, but never really took them all the way off. But, had to get them over just for the easy part because I don't have the facilities. Instead of messing with all that oil and redoing it myself, I just took them over to a shop. And again, Steve took care of me. These guys are awesome. And they beat out everybody else. As you know, prices are ridiculous right now. And they took care of me, man. I told them, I'm going to take them off the bike and everything. So they cleaned them up real nice. When I got there, I was worried about cleaning them after, but man, they polished them up real nice. And that is a nick right there, but it's not a problem. This is an issue if it's down in the throw area where where this is going to be moving, because then that's going to cause a gap under here and it's going to, rot out, let water in, stuff like that. But because this is way up here, this is where my, I had an aftermarket windshield and it was steadily rattling, tapping on that thing. So, I don't know if it was a metal part or not that caused that, but anyways, they look great. I don't have to clean them up or nothing. So they're looking good, and they took care of me. So we are going to get these things back on my baby so I can get Red Rum on the road and get out there and cruise and turn some corners. So the weather's getting a little bit better. We had another nice day. It's been about 3 or 4 days since the last video. It's been raining, so, New York. But anyways, let's get cracking. Now, if you remember from before, I was telling you that, these things are all nasty. They're soaked with oil. And I don't know if you can even pick them up, but they're really dark, soaked with oil. And these things, you can't use them. Once that oil gets inside of there, it just soaks right through whatever that material is. It's a metallic material, but it's porous, so it'll seep in there, and it's like you have no brakes. It's like it's on, on ice. So I'm going to be replacing that. I got some brake pads, so I am going to start by getting this cleaned up a little bit and getting these old pads out of here and getting the new ones in, so that once I do start, getting everything together, it's just, putting it all together. So I will spare you. I'm sure you all know how to do brakes and all know how to change it up. So back in a second. When you're doing these forks too, you got to make sure at the end that they're nice and loose, and everything in the front end is moving freely. So these move. So in order to line these up, what you got to do is first I put it through, and I only tighten the top one there just to hold it just a little bit, because then you're able to swing this around just to hold it up and line it up first before you tighten everything down. And then when I get the other one on here, I'm going to put the axle through it, and that axle is going to line everything up, and that axle should, glide back and forth real easy and slide around and be loose, not tight in any way before you start cranking everything down. There's a little beveled edge on the top of your fork right by that aluminum nut, and it kind of bevels in a little bit, and that's right where you want to have that sticking up. Now, once you get all of this aligned with the axle, and you get all of this, you get your brake on, you get your axle, everything is swinging freely. Don't worry too much about how much this is sticking up versus the other one. They may be a little irregular. They may not be like they were when you first took them off, nice and flush. So nothing really to worry about too much up here. It's making sure down here where all your, you know, your wheels and your brakes and everything and rotors are going to be moving, all of that moves freely and is in its own place. All right, so I have both of them in. Now I want to get it nice and straight and then run your axle through. I have mine is dry right now because I cleaned it up and everything. I'm obviously going to be lubing it up when I finally put it on, but you want to put these in and just make sure they go through and make sure you twist and everything, make sure it's spinning in there, that you get things adjusted. That's a little looser. You have to really make sure that when you first put it in the second fork, that, you know, it's going to move nice and smooth, but it's going to move the same way as you go in and out with that. It shouldn't just be smooth at the beginning and then get tighter as you push it in. It should stay the same smoothness of movement. And this feels pretty good not to have grease on it. So I think this is pretty much lined up. So at that point, I'm going to pinch down these and lock it in place, get the brake caliper on there, and get this thing back together. So once you got it in here, I've been fiddling a little bit, banging this side to get it, if it moves easier, banging that side, moves easier. So I got it right where it's probably the loosest. Now I'm going to go all the way in with this, and then I'm going to tighten these down. I'm going to lock these bottom ones down for now, just temporarily, to get this nice and locked on this position of the axle. So now it's locked in, you got your orientation, and it's going to be locked in that place while you get all the rest of the stuff buttoned up. All right, so now that you got your things locked in, I left the axle in, like I said, to lock down these 4 areas. And then I got this back on here because it's dangling everywhere. So just locking this up now. And when you're doing this, you want to take note as you're going. Are things fitting properly? Are things going in easily? Or are they fighting you? You got to bend and twist. That's a sign right there. I mean, you'll obviously know if you did something wrong with the first step with the initial forks. The good thing, these things swivel on their own anyways, independent of this, so you could still always loosen them up. Really, the big thing before you tighten these down, you want to get the height and everything right. These two have to be really loose. That rod has to be really smooth in there and really loose. But yeah, man, they did a great job on these shocks. I mean, I know they're old shocks, but I mean, they're nothing new. But I wish I could have got my little rotary tool and do the brush metal and everything, but I don't have time for that, man. And I don't have the facilities, so I need to get on the road soon. And I need to get all my lights wired back up. They're all messed up under here, so that's another thing I'll have to take care of, is the lighting on this. But you know, the thing that I was saying earlier about the right shop. Now, I called about these forks, and they tell me, you know, yeah, we can do the forks. You know, this was the first shop that I called, and they asked me, do you have the kit? The kit. They're talking about the rings, the bushings, and everything that are inside of the shock that you know. Normally, you would go online and you would get your kit to go along with your rebuild, and they're convenient. Don't get me wrong. I mean, yeah, the kit has everything you know for that bike, and it's going to be there if you're doing it yourself. I just don't expect a shop to need a kit. It's okay if they have a kit or if you bring them a kit, but they asked me if I had the kit. And okay, fine. You know, I'm not hating on any shop that buys a kit for their shocks. You know, I mean, the forks in some bikes are very specific. They do need their own, you know, specific kit, specific little, you know, rings or whatever. But that's few and far between. This is a common bike. This is a 04 Honda Vtx1300c. And it is not, I mean, it's a very simple setup. So these things are very simple. The guy that I went to obviously was cheaper. And, you know, the reason why, the guy asked me, the previous guy was like, oh, you got to get the set, it's like $50, $60 for the kit. Well, the guy that I went to, Steve, he didn't have to get this kit. I'm asking him, he had boxes of different rings, different seals, different bushings and stuff like that, all 4 shocks for, a multitude of different bikes that they would fit. It's the difference is one person is assembling your parts. The guy I went to, he's a mechanic to me. There's parts laying all around. He's got old, dirty boxes full of different size parts. He knows he doesn't need a kit to finish the job because he knows exactly what size this ring is. He knows exactly what the bushings are, that they should be this size and this diameter and have Teflon coating. And he replaced all those things, and I didn't buy a single kit. He dug it out of a big box that he has. So it's kind of like the old school, old school shops I think I'm more attracted to. If you have a bunch of parts laying all around, I love it. That's a good sign to me. You should be full of parts, full of bikes, full of projects in your back shop, and it should show. It should smell like grease and oil and gas, and to me that's what the right shop is. These guys that are just putting parts on, they may be there brand new. This may be a guy that just showed up that hasn't been there for a while. This guy, I think, has been there for like 20 years, 30 years. That's the people you want to find. You want to find the shop that's been there for 30 years or so, that has been doing this stuff for a long time and knows exactly what to do. Like, this guy has probably come across this bike 100 times, and knows exactly what bushings, bearings, rings, all of that it needs. So that's the type of mechanic I want. Oh, there got some bikes. He was very quiet for some reason. Sport bike with quiet pipes. I don't trust people like that. You don't have a sport bike with quiet pipes. It's like having a Harley with quiet pipes. It's almost like an electric Harley. Oh, can you believe it? I can't believe they built that. Anyhow, I'll leave Harley alone because it's not a bad bike. Just not what I would ever expect Harley to put out a quiet machine. They're always known for roaring. So at any rate, back to the shops and stuff like that. Some of these shops, I was talking with a guy before. This was back when I had my transport business. I would transport bikes, ATVs, snowmobiles, whatever, power sports, wherever you need it, around the state or wherever. Not too far, but mostly in the city. So I'm talking with this guy from the shop, and I'm asking him to do some work. And I do work with him, we're partnering together. So he tells me, he needs to get this part for me. And I'm like, I usually get my parts. How much for the part? The price he quoted me was 3 times what the part cost. And I'm like, dude, I can order the same exact part. I mean, same name, everything. Like, go online, anyone these days can go and order the exact part that you need. And for a fairly cheap price. And this dude's response was, that's how business is. That's how our business is. So you go and buy the same part sometimes at the same store. I've seen auto mechanics, same thing. They're getting it at AutoZone and all these different auto parts stores that's right down the street from me. They get it at a cheap price. So they have an account with them. They get it at a really cheap price, and then you're going to charge me 3 times what the retail was just because you had to go and get it. That's old business. That's dinosaur business. That can't survive in the 22nd or 21st century or the 22nd century. So I was just, I had a disagreement with him that was just terrible business, that, you should be honest about it with people, charge them what the part costs, and then do your labor, and then do other things. People appreciate that, and that makes you want to come back to the shop. This dude did this for, much cheaper than what the other shops were saying. He could do it because he had the skill to do it. He could cut the corners because he didn't have to buy a $60 kit. He knew what belonged in there. And that's the type of knowledge I'm looking for, is that old school knowledge. Somebody knows what has to be in there, doesn't have to look it up, and doesn't have to say, let me order the kit, let me try to, find out where we can find this. So I don't know. I felt good there. I told him I'm going to be back for sure. Told him I want to advertise my my channel on his board, but he had his board down. He was doing some rearranging in the shop, so couldn't get my my card up on his board, but I will real soon. But anyways, yeah, big shout out to Steve. He was really great, really awesome guy. So anyways, back to Red Run. She's not quite done yet. So again, you know, I mean, I'm kind of just bringing you out here tooling with me. It's really not a install video, although, you know, maybe you can learn a few tips of what I'm doing, maybe some bad habits. But yeah, she's almost there. Really, the only thing is to get these lights back on and get that tire back on, and get the caliper on and all that. So like I said, I mean, if you take your time, this stuff is simple. Just get out there, take your time, and watch what you're taking off. Make sure you put it back on. And just like me, I'm always left with extra bolts because I'm just that good that I can put stuff back together again better than the factory, and don't even need all the factory bolts. So I'm that good. And if you believe that, I have a beautiful bridge to sell in Brooklyn for you. It's beautiful. It's going soon. Anywho, let's get back at this. Look at that thing. It's still going, baby. $60, $70. I don't know what I paid for it. I forgot. But this held this bike up for what, the last 4 days? This is day 5 now. Not even it didn't even act like it wanted to fail or anything like that. It's a couple windy days too. No problem. So, all right, let's get her back together. It's kind of fiddly, but it's pretty basic. It's pretty straightforward. There's a few bolts. I mean, I'm literally out here using 3 Allen wrenches. Yeah, 3 different Allen wrenches. One of them I'm using as my grip in the axle. A 12 millimeter, a 22 millimeter, and the 17 millimeter hex to get the wheel off. And you're gonna have to own that tool anyways if you own this bike, because if you ever plan on taking your front tire off at all. And also, guys, if you haven't noticed already, yes, I went and got the DJI mic. Oh, it's so much better. It's so much clearer. It's so much easier to move around. No wires and everything. I was having a fit last time because the wires were just, oh, it was horrible. I edited out all the curse words for you, don't worry. So that's on, that's on, that's on. I'm gonna get rid of these brakes because it was just too slimy and too wobbly to try to do it in my hand and try to crank these things out. So that out there could use some grease. Oh, and they just fall out with, oh, cobwebs. What the heck is that? Spider webs. Oh, these things are gross. Soaked. You see that oil in there? I mean, you can see the oil all over it, but they are soaked through. This one half is oily. That part here in the top is all oil, which means they are just like ice against each other. Can't use these at all. All right, well, after fighting with this thing, man, these brakes are getting on my nerves. Take note of your brakes before you start messing with them. Those little clips and, you know, the little retainer clips and stuff like that get really annoying, but we got it on. As you see, I got the tire, I got the forks and everything, and just got to put the lights back on. But finally fiddled with this axle a little bit. Had to go down a little bit just to get it in, you know, the jack, but everything's in there. The new brakes are on, and she's coming along. Just about done. All right, once you got your axle all the way in, cinch it down and everything, you want to make sure that you're spinning freely. Another thing about Steve's, man, got a little turned around with this one. You know, your spacers are different on each side, and so you have to have them on the right side. I had them backwards, and I couldn't figure it out. Man, I called up Steve, no problem, talked me through it, let me know, and boom, that's the result. You know, I mean, that's the benefit of having a real mechanic. Nobody's just after your money. Dude took the time to talk with me on the phone for 5-10 minutes. And he didn't do any of this job. You know, he didn't put the tire on. I did, and I'm the one that's getting stuck. And he still walked me through it, looked some things up on the phone with me, and even said, hey, if it ain't right, or if you just want me to double check it, ride back out, I'll double check it for free. So that's good people right there. Well, there she is, kids. Get out of there. All put back together, all good to go. Some fresh seals. They shouldn't need any attention for quite some time now. So have a little bit better ride and save a bunch of money doing it, because that's how I do, man. I'm not gonna give away all my money just because you call yourself a dealership or you think you're the only person in the world that can fix something. So most of the stuff is pretty easy, guys. You gotta get out there and do it, you know. But find the right shop, you know. The right shop is crucial. It's the difference between somebody just taking your money and saying, hey, you know, good luck to you, I put your part on, or having a mechanic and walking you through an issue and making sure that you're good to go. Like I said, these dudes, he didn't have to talk to me on the phone just now. I mean, I came in there for him to do the fork seals. The fork seals are fine. There's no reason why he needs to take his time to do all of that. But he did. So I appreciate it. They're my new shop. They're going to be my new, definitely my new forks, because her hiding under there with all her shame is Black Maddie, and she needs some fork seals done too. So who knows when that's going to get done. Those are kind of complicated. Everything is a little, oh, there's so much to take off. So much plastic on that bike. It's like any kind of sporty bike. It's got a bunch of plastic and a bunch of crap to take off first before you can even get to stuff. So it is super bright. So I can't, where's my sunglasses at? Let me get my sunglasses on. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, that's better, that's better. Anywho, guys, so I'm gonna wrap it up, but that's it. That's my quick fork job, how I do it the easy way. Sometimes you gotta pay for the convenience, you know. Like I said, if I had a garage, I'd be fine. I'd do it myself, but you know, we got some decent garages around here. I mean, there's a few that you can find. This guy, I really dig him. I think I'm gonna be messing with him. Find a garage that's been around for some years, you know. These fly-by-night guys, you never know what they're up to, you know. It's be some young guys out there that, you know, they think they know what they're doing, but I don't know. I usually don't mess with shops like that. I like to see some old greasy men back there that been doing it for years, got grease and gasoline in their blood. So I'm getting my baby ready, because you know this whole thing is all geared. The reason why I'm getting everything together is because we're getting ready for Sturgis 2022. So this is the bike I'm taking, and so got some little things to do to her. The bags, as I've been mentioning, these sad bags are going. They're out of there. See you later. I'm gonna get some hard cases that lock, because I'm gonna have all my stuff in there, all my batteries and whatnot, and GoPro accessories, all of that. So I'm gonna need to think about that. And it's a cruiser event anyways. I might even get rid of this this little backrest. It's pretty dated. Anywho, guys, I'm gonna let you go, but tune in next time. I'll be out here messing with stuff. We're gonna have another video with the install of the bags, because that's gonna take a little bit of customization. But that and a couple other trinkets that I have for it that I'm gonna be putting on it. Anyways, guys, hope you liked the video. Hope it helps you out at all. You know, I mean, if you're thinking about getting your forks done and you're scared, if you're scared, don't be scared. Take them off of there, man. Rip them off. Take them to the shop. Let them do it. It's a messy job. It's, you know, it's fiddly. You gotta have the right tools, but you can make these things easy and not have to pay a bunch of damn money to the dealership by just bringing your whole bike and making him take your bike apart. If you could at least take it apart, you're gonna be saving yourself some money. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, clean this thing up, and get myself back to my couch. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. There's gonna be plenty more, guys. I'll see you later. Live free.